come from a very different industry, the old economy company, so to speak. And we say that we are going to be in business perpetually because other than man and time, nothing can move without brain. And therefore, we are in business for good. So sustainability is not so much of a problem to the industry per se. It's also, as you can surmise from the definition I gave, is very, very widely present in practically all aspects of life and industry, whether it's automotive, industrial segments, it doesn't matter what you do. Movement happens, and movement cannot happen without a brain, in either direction, whether rotational or leading. There are some key characteristics of our industry. It's very highly capital intensive, and the asset turnover ratios are low by definition. So it puts a huge pressure on the decision-making process in the management when you want to go and set up any capacities. It is also further accentuated by the fact that the switchovers, once an OEM selects you, the switchovers are very difficult. If a customer gets annoyed with you, it will take 1 year before he disengages. That becomes further more challenging in aspect of the fact that you need to manage your business behind a customer's business, and even they do not know. And I really lived last year for several months running together when we would receive a forecast from an OEM saying this month, on 1st of this month, I will need X million bearings. On 7th it changes, on 15th it changes again. And it is all changing for delivery within the 30th of the month. And if you go and tell them, look here, I can't do this, how do you expect me to do this? They say, but you should have estimated this. Even I can't tell you this is what is happening in the market. So the volatility of the growth also adds a dimension to defining a competitive strategy for people in my industry and similar ones. The other complicated dimension, and I'll tell you the story here, one of India's largest two-wheeler manufacturers, I was at the headquarters last year, and there's a huge lawn in front of the chairman's office, and it's really huge. It can house, and it did house at that moment in time as I walked in, about 20,000 motorcycles. They're all standing there, ready to go. And I went in and I said, sir, what's happened? How come motorcycles here? You run out of space. He said, no, well, we made them all, but you know, just the battery is missing. So we're waiting for the batteries to come. He said, because the rest of the bike can be made. So we made it, the demand is so high that I cannot wait for battery to come and finish. So this is ready, as soon as batteries come, we'll fix it here and send it out. But he said, you know what, you don't have that luxury, because you see, if you don't supply me the product, I cannot begin to make the bike. So take your call from there on the. So I think one of the key challenges that we face is to develop the delivery capability. And I use the word capability away from capacity to match customers' growth plans and to anticipate. And that's a big challenge in front of us that we need to work on. That obviously then make the same thing happen down the line for me. That is, my supply chain need to be ready for similar volatility. And as we go down the component chain, the current structure in India is different from the rest of the world. Is that most of the suppliers who are suppliers to us are family-owned businesses, and therefore their perspective on growth is very, very different. It is what I can manage at this moment in time, given the constraints of capital that Vaibhav was mentioning, and other issues of how many members in the family can run the business, how many will get it. There are many, many other issues that come into play. How do you excite them to grow is another challenge for us. The third one, which is I think is a good challenge, and tell you a little story on that one, is we are a multinational, and therefore there's a whole history and legacy and experience and knowledge behind us. And sometimes this knowledge is of no use. And let me give an example. For those of us who have grown in India, it's a very normal sight. We've all seen, especially if you go to the mountainous regions, not necessarily Greenboard highways, and we have seen these trucks broken by the roadside. And it is so prevalent that if you talk to these fleet operators, they'll tell you that they actually carry a spare axle in the truck, almost always. And if you dig a bit deeper, you find that it breaks down every 30,000 kilometers. 30,000 is not a lot for a truck. It's just 3 months in India. So is that what you see when you go abroad? You don't see that. Because the trucks abroad are designed to run 1 million miles. This is 30,000 kilometers. And that's 1 million miles. So obviously there's a technology that makes them run 1 million miles. So what do you do? Can you just bring that technology here and put it here in this truck? It's already there, it's proven, it's running. Just replace it. So we went to one of the big truck companies in India and we spoke, there are big customers. We went and spoke with them. And we were asking, would you consider this? They said, no. Not at the cost point you guys are saying. Because our customers won't pay. Nobody in India buys a truck thinking it will run 1 million miles. So why build a feature that will run 1 million miles? And that put us into a different spot, and they said, but do something for, we are willing to work and improve, but not 1 million miles. And that brings to, and of course then we work with them and our people work, and now next year onwards we'll see new trucks rolling out which will run 300,000 kilometers without a breakdown. So this factor of 10 change. So 3 months to 30 months in Indian truck operators are going to be very happy long. But that brings about the issue of developing local products with global knowledge and doing it at speed. And I think that's the critical challenge or competitive advantage we could build upon. If many companies, especially multinationals, have relied on technology being developed outside India, and then you go and stand in a line because the rest of the world is competing for the same space. But here the needs are very different, and I think that's the key lesson that we have learned. My companies learned that pretty quickly now, and very quickly the relative term, but we are setting up a huge technology center in India now to precisely address the situation, because the market is growing very fast, but it's growing in different directions. The fourth, therefore, we said the principle that we sort of deployed and which apparently is working for us, yes, is global as much as possible so that we can leverage what we know, and then local as much as is necessary. That's the principle that we have deployed to develop a competitive strategy and technology, because we found that we just can't transplant what we already have available with us. Last but not the least, I think there's a huge dimension which we almost take for granted on the competitive strategy side, and that is the people dimension. There's a war out there for the talent. And I keep giving these numbers every time to my HR director, and in the city of Pune, where we have our biggest manufacturing facility in India, is also an IT hub, and that city recruits 50,000 software engineers every year, 50,000. And we are competing for the same group of people, and we recruit 50 every year. And I tell our HR that look at the dimension of what they will treat, because for those guys, they are raw material, not for us. They are assets for us. So you know, it is the way you look at it. So there are dimensions of innovation, as I discussed: people, capital, employment, volatile growth, customer anticipation, whole host of dimensions. And it is around these understanding of the market that companies can actually build a competitive advantage and sustain it. Thank you.